What's up? Your boy Domuto. We back with another video today watching Charlotte Shan. What if Frieza was good? Part 4 and 5. Yes. Frieza, last part, Rats pulled up, you know what I'm saying? Now Cooler, no, Frieza is alive. Now Oolong is alive. And, yeah, we're going to get into it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and
Explains to Goku further that this is his true self. This form takes no stamina to maintain, it's just him. For so long, he knew nothing about this form, nothing about himself really. And now he's finally starting to learn, all in this relatively short time span. He had no clue of what his origin was. He didn't know his power went this far. And with all the new info being presented to him, he wonders, what was he supposed to be like before he came to Earth? What was he destined to be? Nearby where they are, there's some water. And Yulong walks over to it, looking at his reflection. He doesn't even recognize his current self. What is this Frieza person supposed to be like? Is there any chance of him ever becoming that at all? Or is he different? Is he his own person? He's been left with a lot to think about. Assuming what Raditz said is true, which it probably is. But Goku tells him their past lives don't matter. Kakarot and Frieza, they don't exist anymore. He's Goku, and the person in front of him, it's Yulong. For some reason, it seems like they were fated to end together, both turning good. As far as Goku is concerned, Yulong is more of an older brother to him than Raditz is. Maybe it's good that they forgot after all this time. Goku does kind of wonder what he would have been like as Kakarot, but he doesn't waste much effort thinking about that. It's useless to think about. He's Goku from Earth, and that's exactly what Yulong should think like. He's Yulong from Earth. Yulong's always felt so alien from everyone, literally and figuratively. He lives at Kame House, secluded. He clearly doesn't look human, and his power has always been treated as otherworldly. People have praised him for it. People have attacked him for it. That might be part of the reason why he felt so empty with trying to get more power. And looking at the form he's in now, it makes him wonder, what's Cooler gonna be like? He doesn't want to fight Cooler, but he's smart. He knows that Raditz is probably going to plan something to get Cooler to come here. Was this excessive power meant to be used for cruelty? He can't help but feel that's the case. But Goku's right. That doesn't matter anymore. Yulong turns to him and smiles. If they do end up facing Cooler, they will win. At best, no one comes to Earth. Maybe Raditz returns with the other two Saiyan, which will be easy to stop. At worst, Cooler comes here, who they know nothing about, but they should remain confident. The smart thing to do right now is to start training. This time around, Yulong becomes a teacher of sorts, training Goku, Tenshinhan, Krillin, Yamcha, and Chaozu. He doesn't know Yamcha as well as everyone else, but he has trained at Kame House before and was here a few years ago. The other four, he actually does know pretty well, especially Goku, Krillin, and surprisingly Chaozu. He knows exactly what they need to work on, and he's going to help them. Goku, Tenshinhan, and Krillin are constantly trying to surpass each other. They have a three-way rivalry, and they're far beyond their canon selves at this point, mainly due to the fact that their training's been completely different. Goku's had a head start, while Ten and Krillin have spent a lot of time with Kami. Right now the powers are as follows. Goku's at 2,000. Ten's not too far behind at 1,500, with Krillin also being the same exact power level. Then there's a pretty sizable gap with the Yamcha at 200.
damn.
And Chaozu
Why are
also
you doing
at 200.
Yamcha like that?
As for Yulong, he still has never used his 100% power. Even though he knows what his final form's like, aka his true self, he hasn't used it at 100%, and he needs to get past his mental barriers and tap into that. But right now, his maximum power is actually really high. 200 million. It's excessive compared to everyone else, but it's pretty conservative when you think about it. His growth has been slower than the normal Frieza would be due to multiple reasons. He's been subconsciously suppressing himself a bunch. He hasn't been training strength as much. He is a little bit lazy too, and also those injuries and rehabilitation he had, that held him back from growing even further. Sure, he's seen growth. Like his power right now, it's much higher than Final Form Frieza, even at 100%. But if he trained rigorously, consistently, and didn't get held back by his injuries and rehabilitation, he'd be way stronger than this at this point. He's only just now starting to realize his full potential, and by finally getting to see what his true form is like, day by day, the rate at which he grows is accelerated. Ever since learning more about himself, he's been reinvigorated. And that's kind of why he's a teacher now too. He's knowledgeable, and so much stronger than the group that he wants to get them to his level. But that's a pretty high bar. He doesn't know if that's possible. Still, worth a shot. If anyone could do it, it's these people around him. At the same time though, it might sound like his power is a little bit excessive, but you also have to consider, Cooler's been training too. Nobody knows his true power. But one thing's for sure, Yulong and Cooler are both in a league of their own. After Yulong trains everybody for a bit, Kami then contacts them and tells them to come to the lookout. He has a much better idea for what they should do. Not because Yulong's a bad teacher or anything, but because they could learn something else from King Kai. King Kai begins talking with them through their minds, and he introduces himself. Normally he wouldn't get involved, but for something like this, he kind of needs to. Everyone besides Yulong goes to King Kai. Yulong decides it's best to stay here because he wants to protect Earth. It's better to have at least one person here, and especially with him being the strongest, he should probably stay here. But King Kai does want to talk to him directly, so he speaks through his mind. He's sure Yulong has a lot of questions by now, and King Kai actually does have some answers. He's been watching Earth for a while. He knows how Yulong got there. Like he said before, normally he wouldn't get involved with things like this, but considering it involves Frieza and Cooler, trillions of lives are at risk. Yes, it's that serious.
It is.
So he explains what he knows and confirms everything. Yes, Yulong is actually formerly Frieza. He was born into that family, born pure evil actually. That empire that Cooler now rules, Frieza was actually the one destined to take over it. Cooler decided to assassinate him. King Kai's honestly not too sure how this happened, but it appears the trauma from everything after Cooler's assassination attempt, it changed how Yulong's mind worked, similar to Goku hitting his head and how that changed his mind. But he confirms everything he knows and tells him more about Cooler as well as King Cold. But he ends this off with a warning, telling Yulong that his power and potential are far greater than he realizes. Cooler is definitely a risk to everyone, but Yulong still doesn't know his full strength. He needs to learn how to control that. He only just started to access a fraction of that. If he truly wants to protect Earth, he needs to first of all know his limits, and second of all, he needs to know how to control that.
Yeah.
He can't even theorize how far Yulong's power goes, but he knows it's probably pretty far. Yulong thanks King Kai for the info. Now he finally has confirmation, and also the words of encouragement from King Kai. He'll take that all to heart. King Kai basically reaffirmed what Yulong already assumed about himself, mainly the part about his power. Until he reaches full harmony with himself and his power, he's not going to be fully complete. More importantly, he won't be able to defeat Cooler until that time comes. Which is also part of the reason he's staying on Earth too. He doesn't need to learn more things from King Kai, as great as they might be. He still has a long way to go as Yulong, and until he does that, he won't have realized his true potential. Meanwhile in space, Cooler plans to go to Earth. It's not really a top priority right now, so it might take some time. Plus, as mentioned in the last part, getting to this point in the story, it actually does take some time because first of all, Raditz needs to travel to space, and everything needs to move around in the Cooler Force, up until the point when Cooler actually meets with Raditz in person. Don't worry, we're done jumping around here, but this is about a year ahead. That's where we currently are at the point when Cooler gets the concrete info and plans for attacking, and slowly starts to make his move. He has an empire to run after all, and he preferred to see Raditz in person before deciding anything. Obviously he does need to confirm what's going on. He's not going to waste his time and resources to go there based on a hunch from a Saiyan, one who he barely trusts in the first place. But he's more than confirmed it. Frieza is there on Earth. There is no doubt about that. Which means there's no doubt that Cooler wants to go there and kill him. Besides, running this empire does take a lot of time. But
He
in the
ain't
meantime,
bothering
he at least
nobody.
sent some other people out to Earth. Following the year that's passed, we go back to Earth itself. Of course, Yulong's been training himself, spending a lot of time in his final form trying to get control over it. Not that it's hard to control, but it's mainly the fact that he doesn't know how far he can go with it. He hasn't used his full power yet, he's just trying to use this form in general. Because this form isn't a form, this is just him. The other three forms before it, those are suppressions. He knows that by now. The issue is trying to get the full power of this form because that's actually something beyond what he normally uses. But also during this time, he's been training with someone, mainly to teach them. He's been training Gohan, per Goku's request. After meeting him at Kame House, he did want to get to know him more, and he comes to learn that this kid is just like Goku. They haven't trained a lot, but he spent some time keeping him company, and also showing him the basics of martial arts. But amidst this training, he could sense something far away. It's actually really far, outside the boundaries of the solar system. Nobody else could even sense it besides King Kai. And before King Kai could say anything, Yulong then contacts everyone on the planet, which kind of amazes them because first of all, he was able to sense them all here without a trigger. He shouldn't know the location of King Kai's planet and how to contact it. Second of all, he's projecting his thoughts this far. And third, how did he sense enemies that far away? They weren't even powered up. King Kai's just amazed about all this. It's almost scary actually.
Yulong like
But
that.
Yulong basically gives the warning that everyone needs to get back here. They have about a day until they face the first enemies, but they get back just in time. Crossing Snake Way doesn't take too long the way back, and they actually get some time to prepare. Yulong stands atop a large mountain, trying to sense exactly where the ship's going. He feels it getting closer to Earth. It's on the complete opposite side. Right now he's also in his first form, just so no one sees his true power. But the second he senses the ship getting close, he leaps from the mountain, darting around the planet with insane speed, grabbing onto the ship as it enters the atmosphere, and flinging it into a nearby wasteland, causing it to crash land. The rest of the group then comes over to where Yulong is. They didn't expect that, but that's good because it at least prevents it from landing in a city. Still, kinda crazy though how he just did that on a whim. From the crash ship, 3 people step off. It's Cooler's armored squadron. The first thing they do is confirm that Frieza's there. They see him and relay that to Cooler. Goku, Ten, and Krillin step up first to fight, each facing one member on their own. This will be a great test of their power. Yulong's not even going to fight here, same for Yamcha and Chaozu for that matter. They just sit aside and watch. Goku tells the armored squadron that they've grown significantly. He's not sure if they're on their level. He doesn't even know who these guys are. But they've spent a year with King Kai and have learned a bunch of things. There's 5 people training together on the planet. Plus, they started at higher points already. And they had a bunch of time on King Kai's planet. It's not like a lot of that was wasted traveling across Snake Way. And Yulong's impressed. It seems to be exponential growth. This is a really tough battle for them too. But still, judging by the power of the armored squadron, the old Goku, Tenshinhan, and Krillin wouldn't have been able to beat them. They really have grown a lot with King Kai. And the main thing that's driving them, it's the fact that they could use Kaioken. Goku was actually going to try and use Great Ape somehow, but it's not like he could transform to that willingly. He does remember Raditz tried something to transform before, but Goku never got to see what it was because Yulong stopped him. He eventually would like to learn something like that, but in the meantime he has Kaioken, which he could actually push pretty high. By now he could use Kaioken at times 10. And if he really wants to push himself, times 20. As for the other two, they could do the same, but it's a lot
They
tougher.
are a little bit weaker.
They
though.
mostly use something
The
like
Saiyan
power to
Saga.
compensate. And with that, the
And,
Armored Squadron is defeated. Not easily, but still.
The
Each
Frieza
in a
Saga.
1v1. Of course, Cooler was watching the
Goku
entire time
is.
from the scouters. He can't believe it. He really wanted to see Frieza fight, but these people alone are powerful. He thought the squadron would be enough. But he'll be there soon enough to finish this. About 2 months from now, one scouter turned into his speaker, with Cooler talking directly to Yulong through it. It's good to finally learn that Frieza's actually alive. He's amazed that his brother survived all that. He thought he really finished the job back then. But this time he won't make the same mistake. Yulong doesn't reply at all, but Cooler keeps trying to taunt him through it. So, Yulong lifts up the scouter, pointing it right at himself. Still, saying nothing, he crushes it, completely ignoring Cooler's taunts. This only serves to piss Cooler off even more,
Okay.
but he could tell that he was getting under Frieza's skin. Those 2 months pass, and after some extra training, the day has finally arrived. A ship arrives on Earth, and everyone's ready this time, just like before. Except, it's not just one ship, it's a couple of ships, and there's a lot of people aboard them. Cooler's brought basically his entire army, and he steps off first, looking around at the group. They all look pretty unassuming, especially with Yulong there in his first form wearing his gi. Yulong's kind of disguising himself at the moment because using his first form will make him look weaker than he is. It's kind of a shame though because this gi is going to get torn off mid-battle. He'll have to get a new one later, but it feels disrespectful still. And after all this time, Cooler could finally greet his brother, glad to see his own flesh and blood alive after so long. Of course, saying this sarcastically. Yulong says there's no point in wasting time.
Okay.
They should just try and fight as
Go
is.
at it then.
Cooler then calls for everyone to get off the ships. A bunch of soldiers step off. But someone in the crowd catches Goku's eye. He sees Raditz again, as well as what he assumes are the other two Saiyans. Their job will be to fight the army, while Yulong's going to face off against Cooler. And Yulong starts off with some mind games, telling Cooler he's going to use his full strength right off the bat, transforming right into his second form. He gains some height on Cooler, but he tries to make it seem like this form is his limit. Maybe this way he can catch Cooler off guard if he is too strong. He does want to gauge Cooler's strength, and with this bluff, this is the perfect way to do so. It's not wise to coax Cooler into using his full strength right away, unless he actually is at this level, in which case it'll be an easy battle. But if not, this is a pretty good mind game to play. And Cooler's a bit surprised to see this. This can't really be his limit. But he does remember before when the Armored Squadron arrived, he was only in his first form the entire time. So maybe it is. Maybe Frieza really is that pathetic. This should be fun. And with that, we'll leave off here for now.
Okay.
What do you guys think about the fight officially
Part
starts
five.
with
What
Cooler
if
underestimating his
Frieza
brother.
was good.
He feels like Frieza using his second form as a bluff, but he's already changed so much that maybe it isn't. Maybe that really is where he caps out in terms of power, which is kind of funny to him.
Frieza the second
This'll be
form.
easier than we
Trying to
thought.
play the little
think that he had
game
so
on
much
him.
potential before, and this is all he can muster? And this is the effect Yulong hoped this would have. He's trying to take advantage of Cooler's lowered guard, but he'll only have one chance to do so. So he makes Cooler feel a false sense of security, acting like he's having a really tough time in battle, and noticing that Cooler's holding back too. It seems like he wants to prolong this and enjoy it, which is perfect for Yulong. With Cooler's lowered power, that gives him one opportunity to actually give a strong attack. He's trying to play it smart and finish it as quick as possible. So, with Cooler's guard completely lowered, Yulong then powers up quickly, instantly going into his final form, attacking just as quickly as he transforms, hitting Cooler with a point-blank Kamehameha with an unexpected power-up alongside it. Cooler is able to pivot himself in the nick of time, but the attack still does injure him, taking a chunk out of the side of his torso. Well, it didn't really do what Yulong hoped, but still, at least this creates a weak spot for him. It seems Cooler's already at his full power, and they could just exploit this. Yulong now has the advantage. Even though the attack wasn't the kill shot that Yulong wanted, it still did a good amount of damage. And he starts attacking Cooler right in that weak spot. Cooler can see that Yulong's not playing around at all. He really doesn't care about revenge or any personal feelings. He just wants Cooler gone. Yulong's in this fight solely to protect Earth. Having a fun battle will be nice, but he knows this won't be a fun battle. The stakes are too high here. All he wants to do is get this over with, and make sure everyone is safe. But there's one flaw in his assessment. Yulong could see that in their final forms, they're even, although with Cooler injured, as long as he keeps hitting that weak spot, he could land more critical blows on him. But this isn't Cooler's full power. He actually does have a form above this. He maintains his confident demeanor. This form might look similar to Frieza's final form, but it's not his final form. It feels like the entire Earth starts shaking as Cooler powers up. The ground below them cracks, with chunks of it flying in the air. Cooler starts to grow in size, and Yulong does try to attack mid-transformation, but Cooler is able to fend him off even while transforming, and he achieves his full transformation. He smirks in Yulong's direction, but the smirk's then covered up by a mask. He tells his brother his final form is useless, even if he goes to 100% power. Cooler transforming actually did partially heal that wound he had, but Yulong notices it's still there, a weak spot, and there's a huge difference in power between him and Cooler. But he noticed something Cooler said. He thinks Yulong's holding back, and Yulong kinda knows he is too, but it's not something that he could just easily overcome. He's not holding back for any particular reason. It's just subconsciously, he's used to this. After decades of being on Earth and subconsciously suppressing his power, this is just the norm for him. He only just recently unlocked his final form. But this isn't the full power of that form, and he knows it. There's still a mental block in his mind, keeping him from fighting fully uninhibited. mostly due to him worrying about the others around him and the planet. If he gets some power that he can't control, then everyone is doomed. Yulong launches up in the air and then flies out into space, with Cooler following him. This way, he can mitigate some of the damage. Back on the surface, everyone else is fighting Cooler's army. Goku fights against the Saiyans alone. He comes face to face with Raditz again, asking why he did this. Raditz says it's their only shot at killing Cooler. Initially, when they came to recruit Kakarot, that was also part of the reason. He said it was to help take over a planet, but more so, it was to begin strengthening their ranks. A slow process of eventually forming a rebellion against Cooler. One where the Saiyans could defeat him and then take over. But when he saw Frieza, he had a much better idea. Just bring him here, have the two of them fight. At the very least, they hoped Frieza could injure Cooler enough for them to jump in and then finish it. But Goku says they should have just left Earth alone. They didn't want to be involved in this, and he also warns the Saiyans that it probably won't go well for them. He's confident in Yulong's power and in his own. Goku then powers up into Kaioken very quickly, overpowering all of them, barely using it. They do absolutely nothing to Goku. Nappa then charges an artificial moon in his hand and throws it up in the sky, as Raditz tries to go for Goku's tail. Thing is here, that's not going to work. Goku's tail isn't a weak point. The whole reason he still has it is because he's trained. Not only to not have it as a weak point, but because he can control Grade 8. So, as they all transform into Grade 8, Goku does too. With all of Goku's friends watching nearby. They didn't get an advantage here, they just made themselves bigger targets. And it actually makes Goku kind of wonder, could he use Kaioken with Grade 8? He never actually tried that, but it's worth a shot here. The Saiyans look terrified as Goku powers up, surrounded by that same red aura. Kaioken combined with the power of Grade 8. He's really excited to take this for a test drive. Within an instant, all the Saiyans are defeated once more. He cuts all their tails off too, just to make sure. And with ease, he demolishes the rest of the army too, making it a lot easier for his allies. Although he looks around wondering where Yulong went, but he senses his power up in the sky, actually way beyond that. Yulong of course knows by now that he's able to survive in space. That's why he took the fight up here. And he can sense that down below all the enemies have been defeated. He's been stalling for time against Cooler here. He's come to see that Cooler doesn't really overpower him to a huge extent. He can't really get an estimate on Cooler's true strength. It's enough of a gap in power that Cooler's having a really easy time here, but not to the point where they have no shot at winning. Maybe if he could actually somehow tap into his full power here, that'll be what he needs to win. And that's why he went into space. He could use his power uninhibited here and not worry about destroying anything. At least that's what he thinks will happen. It still seems like he can't tap into that power, mainly because he doesn't have the focus for it right now. He'd need some time to power up and try and tap into it. He's never used it before, so he doesn't really know how far to go with it either. And those mental blocks are still kind of in place. It's not something he can correct by just changing the locale. It's something he's been struggling with for a while. He needs some sort of greater catalyst, or far more training. And Cooler could see there was no point in taking this fight to space. He wants to make sure Frieza could watch all his friends die too. So he launches right into his brother, hitting him with a powerful gut punch. He then spins around, kicking Yulong right down into the planet. Yulong's barely able to slow himself at the last moment. If he didn't slow himself down, he would have went right through the entire planet. Cooler turned him into a projectile to destroy the planet with. And just as Yulong gets back up, in the blink of an eye, Cooler launches down on the planet, catching Yulong under his foot, stomping him further and further into the ground.
Just stomp my nigga out.
Jump in. Krillin flings a Kienzan at Cooler, but he simply grabs it, then takes it in both hands and snaps it in half. Although interestingly enough, he looks at his hand. There is a slight cut on it. Krillin thought that would do more, especially because he used Kaioken when making it, but it just barely scratched his hands even when he grabbed it. But Yulong sees that maybe he could use something like this to his advantage. A focused attack like that on his weak spot maybe. Chaozu then tries to use telekinesis to hold Cooler in place, with Yulong able to escape from under his foot. Quickly, Cooler is able to break free from it and then launches right towards Chaozu.
Chaozu, I love the effort, Chaozu.
Protecting him, barely holding Cooler back. With Yamcha trying to attack from a distance with the Spirit Ball, the area is then illuminated with a red glow as Goku walks over, still in his Grade 8 form. That red light suddenly shifts to a blue one, with the terrifying image of a Grade 8 charging a Kamehameha. Everyone barely gets out of the way in time as he launches it right at Cooler, but Cooler simply jumps right through it. It does nothing to him, and he punches Goku right in the face, quickly looking around in the sky, seeing the artificial moon that the Saiyans created. He lifts up a finger, blowing it up. The unconscious Saiyans nearby begin to de-transform, with Goku also going back to his normal state. Thankfully, he took his clothes off before transforming. Otherwise, he'd be fighting naked right now. But Goku then notes the injury that Cooler has, and he starts to go right for that. That's going to be their key to victory. Quickly, he goes back into Kaioken, attacking him, but Cooler completely outspeeds him. And he can see what Goku's trying to do. The injury still is there, hurting him too. Not that the pain matters to him. He's incredibly durable, but he knows Frieza was trying to land a critical blow to some sort of organs there. Had Cooler not dodged in time, this would have done way more damage and left a massive hole in his chest. Even then, he feels like he'd still be able to fight. It would just leave a much bigger weak spot for them to exploit. But especially with him transformed now, he doesn't even care about it. He thinks it's pathetic that they're even going after it. He says the Saiyan's power was impressive when he was a giant monkey, but now that he's just using whatever that red technique is, he's nothing to Cooler. Not that he would have been a massive problem before either, although that giant Kamehameha did scorch him a bit. With a single hit, he knocks Goku down, then going after the others, but Yulong gets back up just in time, trying to protect them. He then creates his own destructor disc, flinging a barrage of them at Cooler, but Cooler dodges them pretty easily. but Yulong's able to control them remotely, making them chase Cooler around. But with a flick of his wrist, Cooler blasts all of them away, except for one that flies back at him, grazing the weak spot at his side, cutting a little deeper into it, and if that hit him directly, it might have cut clean through him. What an impressive technique. Still, not enough though. He's done messing around. He lifts up both hands, forming them into finger guns.
Oh, shit.
A barrage of blasts knocks everybody down. Not killing them just yet, but taking them out of the battle. Yulong's the only one able to barely stand up against this. An enraged Goku flies in, attacking Cooler with everything he's got. They just wanted peace. Why does Cooler need to come here to kill his brother? He's not a problem for Cooler anymore. He doesn't even really want to fight him. But since they have to fight here, Goku's going to make sure everyone's safe.
Come on, Goku.
He knows Yulong's
Turn up,
stronger
nigga.
than him, and now it's his chance to protect Yulong. He's not going to let him get hurt. Yulong's always protected him. He needs to return the favor. Really? Cooler thinks it's interesting that he's that close with the Saiyan. He lifts up the finger once more, launching a death beam that flies right past Goku. Goku turns around and sees it go right through Yulong's chest, with the already weakened Yulong falling to the ground.
Not through my nigga
Everything around
chest.
him's destroyed. All his friends are fallen, and
Cooler
he's not even
rip.
sure who's alive anymore.
Cooler's
He can't even
ruthless,
check
boy.
if they're unconscious or actually dead. But seeing all of them strewn out like that, and now Yulong falling to the ground too, something snaps in Goku. Barely conscious on the other side of the battlefield, the Saiyans all feel something weird. The ground's shaking. They can't sense what's going on,
Not
but
Super
there's a brilliant golden
Saiyan
glow.
already?
Vegeta's barely able to prop himself up, and he sees what looks to be Kakarot, with a fierce golden aura around him. There's no way that's what he thinks it is. Even Cooler's briefly terrified. He's changed, but he realizes what this is. The legend, the Super Saiyan. Goku starts rapidly attacking Cooler, not even realizing he's changed. He makes sure to go right for the weak spot too, and slowly, he's chipping Cooler's health away, but Cooler's then able to recollect himself. For a brief moment, he was stunned by the Super Saiyan. Now that he's regained his senses, even though Goku was able to injure him a bit, Cooler could see that the Super Saiyan stands no chance against him. It's actually kind of funny. Cooler then grabs Goku by the neck. Nearby, Yulong's on the ground. He saw a bit of what happened, and he's proud of Goku for doing whatever that was. But he's more so shocked that whatever just happened didn't kill him. He always forgets the fact that he's so resilient because he rarely faces damage like this. But he has a hole right through his chest, and he's still able to fight. But his whole body is aching. He could barely stand up, but he manages to do so. This is the moment they can defeat Cooler. With Goku's help, they won't lose. But the second he gets up, the first thing he sees is Cooler holding Goku in the air, breaking his neck, and with another hand,
Ooh.
blasting a hole right through his chest. He didn't expect the Super Saiyan to be that easy to kill. He thought he'd put up more of a fight. Sure, if Cooler hadn't trained, that would have been an issue for him. But his hard work is what brought him here. It created the first Super Saiyan, but also helped him easily kill the first Super Saiyan. And now he'll kill Frieza for good. He's already savored the moment, so he could finish the rest of them. Yulong feels like he's in a trance. He doesn't know what to feel. For the first time, he couldn't protect his friends. It's almost like he zones out for a bit, watching Goku fall to the ground lifeless. The adrenaline,
Come
the
on,
anger, the
Frieza.
sadness.
Turn up, Oolong.
Something finally breaks within him. And it's not due to rage that he's unlocking this. His full power has always been there. He just never got past
Okay.
that mental barrier that he needed to get past. This entire time, he never realized he's only been fighting about 30 or 40% power. But seeing his friends near death like that, seeing Goku die like that, everything in his mind that was holding him back from using his full strength, there's no reason for that to be held back anymore. If Cooler destroys everything, there won't be anything left to protect. He can't keep thinking like that. Yulong's aura flares up. He bulks up considerably. This isn't a power derived from rage or anything. This is just him completely uninhibited. That mental block is broken. Yulong is now fighting at 100% power. But that's not to say he isn't feeling rage at the moment. He certainly is. He launches right into Cooler, tackling him into space. They launch into the depths of the solar system, fighting out in the vacuum. A bloody brawl ensues. Cooler's been weakened enough and Yulong's been powered up enough that they can actually fight evenly now. Yulong actually starts to do some real damage to him. Cooler's injured, he's bleeding, and this pushes Yulong even further. He could do it, he could win here. And that rage he felt at Goku's death, it's still there, but it partially subsides because he knows he can bring Goku back. He just has to make sure Earth is intact. He's recollected himself, but still he's fighting completely uninhibited. It's like he's controlling it somehow. He actually did it. The two continue to exchange blows, and every hit Yulong lands is for someone he wants to protect. Had it not been for Goku's brief intervention, Yulong might not be alive right now to do this. He thanks his brother. He's probably safe with King Kai somewhere, and he hopes he's watching what's about to happen. Yulong charges as much energy as he can in one hand, grabbing onto the bloody spot on Cooler's side, launching as much ki as he can into them, staggering Cooler, with Yulong grabbing his tail, swinging him around, slamming him into one of the nearby moons. On the rings of Saturn, weakened Cooler jumps back up, trying to charge his supernova, but Yulong plants his feet into one of the moons, propelling himself upwards with great speed. A Kamehameha is launched from his feet, speeding him up even further. Inspired by Goku, he performs a solar flare from Tenshinhan, blinding Cooler, and for the grand finale, his hands, they match the planet behind him, surrounded by their own rings, small destructo discs that he made, taken from Krillin. In another life, these would be death saucers. Not that he'd even know that. He continues launching forward at full speed, with Cooler throwing down a barely charged supernova, but Yulong cuts right through it, and then cuts right through his brother, slicing Cooler clean in half. He then throws a barrage of the disc down below, cutting him into smaller pieces. He would have done this before, but he didn't have the opening, and now he does. But he knows how durable he and his brother are. Even dicing him like that, it probably didn't kill Cooler. Just like he destroyed everything Cooler stood for, he's gonna destroy every little bit of Cooler as well. If anything, Goku's his true brother. He doesn't need Cooler in his life. No one on Earth could really see what's going on because of how far it is, but even that far away they could sense Yulong's power, as he finishes everything off with a Kamehameha, incinerating whatever's left of Cooler.
Okay.
Krillin then notices some spaceships nearby. They don't have the energy to stop them, but it looks like the Saiyans are alive, and they were barely able to escape, with a huge explosion nearby too. It seems the Saiyans used whatever power remained to kill the soldiers that were still alive, just so they wouldn't be tracked down. A few minutes later, Yulong then enters the atmosphere, descending back down to the planet, bloodied, beaten, and barely conscious, but with a smile on his face. He did it. He used his full power. He protected everyone, and Earth is once more at peace. He then does lose consciousness, falling to the ground besides Krillin, Tenshinhan, Yamcha, and Chaozu.
Aww.
And Krillin's glad that he looks happy. He must have realized that they could bring Goku back. It was Yulong's first time experiencing death,
That's cute.
and also remembering Shenron's great power. They realize that's probably not the entirety of Cooler's army. He still does have a father, too. But they're not worried. If this battle continues, the rest of it will be much easier. And as Yulong unconsciously lays there with a smile on his face, this is where we'll leave off for now.
I ain't gonna lie, I like this story. Man. Frieza just good. He nigga just beat Cooler and shit. Nigga, I'm ready to see how strong. I mean, obviously we gonna see he gonna go golden eventually, and he'll probably Goku gonna keep up with him and shit. So I can't wait to see that, man. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Charlotte Shan for this video. Make sure y'all like, comment, subscribe. Check out the last chapter right here. Check out another video you might like right here, and I'll catch y'all next time, man. Peace.